It's Tuesday, September 25. Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. I'm Herman Green. A special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. A meeting is scheduled for today at the Industrial Disputes Tribunal, IDT, involving the University and Allied Workers Union and the management of St. Anne-based Noranda, Jamaica Bauxite. The workers stayed off the job yesterday after they complained that they have been treated unfairly by the management at Noranda. TVJ Shamela Pullen reports.
Enough is enough. On Monday, more than 180 workers at Noranda Jamaica Bauxite in St. Anne stayed off the job to voice concerns about the way in which they have been treated by the company. One of the main complaints from the workers is that they have been working without a contract for more than 2 years.
From 2016, May 2016, the company has cut back on some of our wages. We lose some benefits from before that, and we still cannot get back those benefits. The company put them on hold. It was for a specific time, but now it's indefinite. We're not hearing from them.
They say a series of meetings were planned with company representatives to discuss the issues. However, they have been cancelled repeatedly.
We're supposed to be at the IDT last week, Thursday. The meeting was cancelled. We were supposed to be there today, through till Thursday, cancelled because of no terms of reference.
These people has exploited us to any means and matter. Anywhere you can bring exhaust station, we are exhausted. And enough is enough. Somebody have to tell us something in the day. Enough is enough. This has been going on for too long now.
The protest has also affected production at Noranda.
About 95% dip in the production. No ship not load, ship import not loading.
Talk to me, man. Talk to me.
Ship import not loading, the train not running. Dryer shut down.
The workers say they will not stop until they get answers from the authorities and the government.
Because the workers will do it today, tomorrow, until them hear from the government. The government got the terms of preference and heard this and don't send it to the IDT. The workers not budging until them get the term of preference.
Meanwhile, President of the University and Allied Workers Union, Lambert Brown, is blaming the Ministry of Labour for the loss of production at Noranda Jamaica Bauxite. He says the union has been arguing since May this year that the company has not been paying the right salaries to employees. Despite complaints, he says, the ministry failed to act swiftly to amend the terms of reference for the workers. Shamela Pullen, TVJ News.
The murder rate is down, but the number of lives being lost in St. James is still a grave concern for the Directorate of the Parish and the business community. Mayor of Montego Bay, Homer Davis, has linked the troubling signs to an increase in unresolved domestic disputes. He made the case while addressing a group of residents on the weekend. His comments followed the murder of 45-year-old Dion Smith, a gas station supervisor who was killed by her boyfriend in the Rosemont community on the weekend. He is therefore appealing to community organizations to ascertain what is happening in their communities and seek help on behalf of persons who may need it.
Of things that are happening in communities. There are a number of families that are going through difficult times in communities. There are a number of relationships that are bad, sour. Right? I am saying, as a citizen, as a community, I know you don't have the skills to deal with this type of thing, but don't ignore them.
Several persons detained months ago under the state of emergency in St. James continue to languish behind bars even after orders were signed for them to be released. Hearings were held by the Emergency Powers Review Tribunal for 13 persons for whom detention orders were signed. Some of them were released following successful objections by their attorneys, while others were referred to National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang for him to determine whether they should be released. President of the Cornwall Bar Association, Stacey Ann Young, says she understands that Dr. Chang has already signed some of the revocation orders. She says the association is concerned these persons are still in lockup.
I've spoken with one attorney who is extremely upset. He, as a matter of fact, on legal aid, has represented 5 persons. Of these 5 persons that he represented, he has received rulings only in respect of 2. And for the 2 that he received rulings, they were revocation orders signed by the minister, and to date, they're still in custody. These persons have been in custody since February. That would make them being in custody for 7 months. And even after being in custody for 7 months, and they're now being, an order of revocation has been signed for them to be released, they are still being held.
The Tourism Ministry is aiming to surpass the number of visitors to the island last year in the coming winter season. As TVJ's O'Shane Masters reports, the Tourism Minister says he's positive this will be realized with the addition of new flight services coming to Jamaica.
Following on successes in 2017 and a good start to 2018, with over 1 million stopover visitors, Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett is positive of an uptick in visitor arrivals to the country. This is compounded by what he says is a drive by his ministry to seek new markets for airlift to the nation's shores. Speaking at the opening ceremony of the Jamaica Product Exchange JPEX recently, Mr. Bartlett noted that an additional 38,000 seats will be coming from the US, 42,000 from Canada, along with 12,000 seats from continental Europe. He also noted that a deal is in the making to have airlifts from Paris and France to Montego Bay. The Tourism Minister also pointed to plans for flights which should materialize next month.
The first flight from Russia with love will come back to Montego Bay. A Dreamliner with 414 passengers. And they tell me that we had to increase the number of rooms in a certain Negril hotel because the flight was selling so well.
Record tourist arrivals of 4.3 million in 2017 represented a 12.1% increase in arrivals over 2016, making it the first time that Jamaica increased overall visitor arrivals by 500,000 in a single calendar year. Revenue flows grew from $2.5 billion in 2016 to a record of approximately $3 billion. The tourism minister noted that the drive to increase tourist arrivals and revenue is in line with the Ministry of Tourism 5x5x5 growth agenda, which aims to attract 5 million tourists by 2021, generate $5 billion in earnings, increase total direct jobs to 125,000, and add 15,000 rooms. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
Industry Minister Audley Shaw has hailed the opening of the Puerto Seco Beach in Discovery Bay, St. Anne as a major success. This despite several concerns by residents and public commentators. Residents in Discovery Bay were left fuming because of the government's decision to have the beach privatized. But Mr. Shaw has blasted those who criticize the decision.
Oftentimes we tend to always want to lower our standards, okay? It's time we start lifting up our standards. It's time we start saying, listen, yes, you can have a lot of free beaches along the way, and there are many in Jamaica. But yes, if an investor wants to come along and create a unique product at a much higher standard, where you provide a much wider range of services, then don't stop it.
Mr. Shaw, who was present at the opening of the newly renovated beach, says the work that has been done is up to world-class standards. Labor and security. And we go to another story there where residents of Harbour View in East Kingston are again demanding attention from the authorities regarding a gully that flows behind and through some of their yards. The residents say despite their appeals a week ago, none of the relevant agencies have visited them to discuss when or how the matter will be addressed. They say they now get increasingly anxious about the safety of their homes with each downpour of rain. At least 30 homes along Harbour Drive in Harbour View are in danger of being damaged as many are perched on the edge of a gully.
What we are looking at now is a gully that is created at the back of my premises. You can see the wall came down in May. That's your wall? Yes, my wall came down in May. And What is happening now that we are living in fear, all the residents of Arbor Drive, the bottom part especially, are living in fear because when it rains, we don't know our next section of the property eventually will come down.
Residents want the retaining walls to be built between the gully and their homes. When our news center contacted the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation about the issue, they said the matter hadn't been addressed as yet because of financial constraints. However, we were told that a meeting is to be held soon about the issue. Labour and Social Security Minister Shaini Robinson says it's time for Jamaica's workforce to adapt to the changes happening globally. She made the pronouncement while addressing a recent awards ceremony in St. Anne. Ms. Robinson says with the rapid pace of change taking place in the work environment, the requisite skill sets must be inculcated in young people if the country is to remain relevant in the global space.
Additionally, technology is dictating how we train and when we train. Some jobs are becoming obsolete, and if we are to survive with an acceptable standard of living, then naturally we must be engaged in the skilling, the reskilling and upskilling of our people.
She believes that if the skill sets of the youth are addressed, then the economy and society will benefit.
Educated populace will find it easier to get employment, a situation which over time will assist in alleviating poverty. And there is no educated country where the people are poor. And there is no poor country where the people are educated. So you understand the balance that education plays in this whole world, a global world of work that we live in now.
Several students had to be rushed for medical attention this morning following a 3-vehicle collision along the Santa Cruz Main Road in St. Elizabeth. The incident happened about 8 o'clock in the morning in the vicinity of a gas station along Santa Cruz Main Road as a black Toyota Isis with students aboard attempted to enter the main road from the gas station. It collided with a Toyota Coaster that was also traveling with students from Santa Cruz before smashing into a Toyota Hiace. 4 students required immediate medical attention and were taken to doctors in Santa Cruz.
Bus that was traveling 2 portions from Santa Cruz town collided with the ISIS car, hit the Toyota pickup and caused an accident.
The coaster bus driver is pleading his innocence in the matter and says he could not avoid the collision.
It's a big vehicle, a loaded vehicle. It cannot stop. No matter if you're going 40 or 30, it slow the weight has a big factor in the stopping. So he imposed on me, and it don't make sense. I go over and hit the other people in the next lane. So that's how I end up colliding with him. Right? And the sad part is he was carrying students as well.
In international news, we go to the U.S. as allies of U.S. President Donald Trump are urging him not to fire Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein. Voices on Capitol Hill warn it could be complicated if the confirmation of Brett Kavanaugh, the embattled Supreme Court nominee, accused of sexual assault.
Top GOP brass are urging President Trump to keep his number 2 at the Justice Department.
He shouldn't fire Rosenstein unless you believe Rosenstein's lying. He said he did not do the things alleged.
On Friday, the New York Times reported that Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein suggested wearing a wire and recruiting cabinet members to invoke the 25th Amendment, a move that could remove President Trump from office. Rosenstein denied the allegations, and others familiar with the 2017 conversations say Rosenstein wasn't being serious about wearing a wire and that his comment was sarcastic. Still, people familiar with the conversations say President Trump contemplated firing Rosenstein. He complained about some members of his Justice Department at a rally Friday.
But there's a lingering stench, and we're going to get rid of that too.
Allies are warning that firing Rosenstein could complicate the 2018 midterms and the confirmation proceedings for the president's embattled Supreme Court nominee, Brett Kavanaugh. Christine Blasey Ford accuses Kavanaugh of sexually assaulting her in the 1980s, an accusation he strongly denies. But Democratic members of the Judiciary Committee want to hear Ford's side. After late-night talks, she's agreed to testify at a hearing expected this week.
If one Republican senator should decide that Dr. Ford's allegations, assertions are true, and that they are serious, it could make a big difference in the nomination of Brett Kavanaugh.
And we go down to sports. St. Catherine High maintained their unbeaten run in the Issa Digital Mining Cup with a 2-0 win over Haile Selassie in Group E action on Monday. Ainsley Brown opened the scoring in the second minute for the Anthony Patrick coached team before Markovich Brown made it 2-0 in the 39th.
We get 2 early goals, and that was important. We never get the time to settle and play. You know, Selassie really run at us and keep us busy in the game. You know, we lost every first ball, and Selassie really come aggressive today. But nevertheless, we get 3 points. We withstand all the pressure and all the robustness in the game and get maximum points.
The second minute of play, we conceded from another set piece, and that was, you know, a difficult patch for us. Very, very hard to concede from a set piece like that. We should have really kept that ball out. But besides that, the game was very, very even. We created some goal scoring opportunities that we didn't take well enough. So if you don't score goals, then definitely you'll always have this type of result.
Meanwhile, Kingston College battled hard to beat Mona High 1-0 courtesy of a Ronaldo Robinson strike. KC, with their 100% record, are now sole leaders of Group B, 3 more than second-placed Mona.
Yeah, by far the toughest. Very competitive team, very competitive game. From a team that really knows this pitch here and really did have to work hard this evening to come away with a victory.
Once we stick to our game plan, it would have been a better half. The first half, we play KC game. Second half, we get back to our game plan. We don't concede no goal second half, but we just lost it from the first half. And when we're ready to put it down, the game slip away from us. But that is just first last. We don't have any more to last for the season. This is just the first one, and it's going to be the last one. Mona going to come out on top.
Defending champions Jamaica College continued their fine form this season after hammering host Kingston High 8-0. Jamaica College, who dropped points in their season opener, now moved top of Group F on 13 points ahead of Hydale on 10 in second. Elsewhere on the day, Excelsior blanked St. Mary's College 5-0 thanks to a double from Damani Hutchinson, while Calabar got the better of Arden High 3-0. And that's the Midday News. I'm Herman Green. Join us at 7 for the primetime news package. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, good afternoon.